Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today we have Valarie joining us. Hi, Valarie.
Hi, Amanda. Hi, everyone.
Hey guys, Valarie's a new coach here and she's amazing. She's got lots of previous coaching experience. And we've got a great video about how you can actually change your situation to have your specific person spend more time with you. So we've got a success story to share. But just before we dive into that, just to let you know, if you are looking for any coaching, Valarie is available for one-on-one sessions. Link in the description below. And guys, amazing news. I put out a course. It's actually available. If you click the courses link down below, it's about how you can actually create the relationship you love, as well as, of course, you can always ask me a question if you sign up with the Patreon, link in the description below. And the contest, I know we've mentioned this 100 times, but I'm going to mention it another 100. We have a contest going on. No, I'm not going to mention it another 100 times because we're going to get to the 100,000. Once we get to 100,000 subscribers, we're giving away 3 free coaching sessions to 3 different people with the coach of your choice. And yeah, to enter, all you need to do is to subscribe, share our videos, and then comment what you've actually created using the law of attraction and inspire. It's going to inspire people, and it's also going to bring that warm, fuzzy feeling back up when you actually start talking about what you've manifested. So awesome. So yes, guys, this is an exciting video. Let's dive right in. So Valarie, I hear you've got an awesome success story.
Yes, I do, Amanda. I have a woman I've been working with for a little while now, and one of her problems, I would say, is that she wanted to spend more time with her specific person, which I know is something that a lot of you want to do. And she would only spend a couple hours a day, a few times a week with him. And she really wanted more of that. And she'd been wrapped up in this for probably over a year with this dynamic of just wanting to spend more time with him. And it just wasn't happening. They were just stuck. So we worked together and brought up her old story, which was that, well, her story around her specific person was that he didn't want to spend time with her, that he didn't find her interesting enough, that he would get bored with her. He just didn't really like a lot of togetherness. He'd rather be alone, and he was just really busy all the time. And she wasn't one of his priorities at all. And then the story she had around herself was that she wasn't fun and interesting enough. She wasn't good enough to spend time with. He would get bored with her. And she just wasn't the type of person that a man wanted to spend very much time with. So we worked on changing that and bringing up a new story. And we did that, of course, through intentions and affirmations.
Exactly.
And he's getting frisky right now, so I apologize for that.
Pumpkin's joining us for the video.
Yeah,
apparently.
That's my kitty. He just jumped down. So,
and guys, we are going to give the list of intentions that Valarie used with this client at the end of the video. So definitely stay tuned for that. So yeah. So what are some of the things of how you guys actually, what you guys actually worked on to change the story?
So of course we worked on her really realizing that everyone, of course, as you pushed out. So we really worked on her seeing that the more she dwelled on these things that she didn't want, which were all of these old negative affirmations that she had going, that sometimes they're so subtle, we don't even realize that they're there, but they were all about him not wanting to spend time with her and her not being good enough. So I really first had her recognize that and be aware of that, so that whenever those came up, she could stop them right there and bring in the new intentions. Like I said, we worked on a whole list of intentions about him and about her. And I just had her start saying things like, and I have got them written down here so I won't forget. He loves spending time with me. I'm his favorite person in the whole world. He can't get enough of me. Ooh. And then yeah, that was one of my favorites too. She said the same thing. She's like, oh, I like that one. And then about herself, just telling herself that, of course I'm fun and I'm interesting and I'm so easy to be with. And he loves spending time with me. Of course, why wouldn't he? And so we just trained her that every time that old stuff, I just call it the old junk. We got to get rid of that old junk and make room for the new pretty stuff that we want in our lives. So that's what we did. And it turned out really well.
Yeah. One thing that we were talking about just before we started recording was she had a question for you of when she was going on the weekend. How was she supposed to act when she was actually with them when the weekend actually manifested? And I think that this is always the biggest question is how do we act when we're around them? How do we interact with the 3D?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she started doing these intentions and affirmations for not very long. It was only just over a week. And she was so surprised because he came to her and said, you know, I've been thinking, and how about we spend this weekend together? We'll go and spend a nice getaway at a bed and breakfast, really sweet. And she had actually been thinking about a particular bed and breakfast that she wanted to go to. She was so surprised. And then right after that initial happiness and surprise, she panicked. She's like, what if my old stories come up? And what if I start, creating this old version of him again? And I told her, that it was most likely that would happen, and to just prepare for that, because we're still seeing some evidence from our old way of thinking, right? Because all this 3D is all old stuff. So her 3D is still trying to catch up with the new story, the new thoughts. So I said, just be very aware. You're just going to keep doing it. You're just going to be aware, and you're going to know now, because we've worked on this so much. You're going to feel right away, because your feelings are created by your thoughts. So you'll know if you're not feeling good, that there's something you're thinking, and it's the old story that's bringing this tension or awkwardness or this feeling of disconnection while you're on the trip. So it's okay. You just recognize it and you stop it, and then you bring in your intentions. Just bring them again. And you can even have them written on your hand if you want. If you need to look down and say it again, it's like, no, he's loving being with me right now. He's having so much fun, and he's only quiet because he can't believe how much fun he's having and how easy it is to be with me on this trip. And she said, okay. And she started doing it, and it went really, really well. So much better than she thought. And he didn't want the weekend to end, which surprised her, because he was always, it seemed like every time after their date was over, he was just out the door. But he didn't want to leave her. He was lingering, and he even said some of the things back to her that she had been saying to herself, like, this was so fun. You're so easy to be with. Like, I can't believe how easy it is to be with you.
That's so amazing. And and you've nailed it. This is how I go through life, is I just go through life. And if something shows up that I don't like, I try really hard not to react by reminding myself everyone is me pushed out. And then I just quickly renounce it. I recognize it, then I renounce it. So if someone says something I don't like, they're being negative or complaining, then I just turn around and I just, and I don't do any pushing in the 3D. I just, okay, listen, nod, whatever, acknowledge what they're saying. And then, the first moment I get to actually think, I'm like, I intend that they're always positive. I intend that they're always saying things that are wonderful that are happening to them, and then move on. And that's really how I navigate through every single day. The best way to act, like Valarie said, was, is to recognize, not react. And then also it's just to accept your 3D, because you've created it anyway. It's all your old thoughts. The more you've got to respect it. The more we resist it by pretending it's not there or getting angry at it or, reacting over it, we're just making it a bigger issue. When really we just go, okay, that showed up. Now this is what I want instead. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to move on to this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that. You brought up the resisting what's right in front of our face, and that was something that I really prepared her for. I said, you have to make sure that you're not reacting to that, and just tell yourself that's still some of your old junk from your old thinking. Recognize that, and don't take it personally. And don't take it as he's rejecting you. Just like you just said, like Amanda just said, get neutral about it. It doesn't have any meaning until you give it meaning. And you can give it, that's your power. You can give it any meaning you want to. So why wouldn't you want to give it a good meaning? Like I told her, if he's quiet, it's not because he's not having a good time or he's bored with you or he's upsetting. It's because he can't believe how amazing you are and how much fun he's having. And she's like, I can do that. I mean, she really had no idea that she could do that because she was so trained. Her brain was so trained to just go to that negative old story all the time. It was so empowering for her.
That's
Yeah.
so amazing. And that I've got a similar success story with Andrew. So anyways, we went out to he took me on a date to horse races, and so because I always wanted to go, I'd never been, and I thought, oh, this will be fun. So we go. And he was grumpy for a while, right? He kind of got grumpy. And the funny thing is it was new in our relationship. I'm like, oh, maybe he doesn't want to spend time with me, but then I was like, no, you know what? Maybe he's just hungry. And then all of a sudden he reflected that back. He goes, sorry if I'm being grumpy, I'm just hungry. And I was like, oh, okay. But then guess what happened? See, every time he was hungry, he got grumpy. So then one day I was like, oh, so about a year later, I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this grumpy, being hungry, this hangry stuff, right? So then one day I was like, no, I intend he's always in a good mood, even if he's hungry. I don't even care. It doesn't even matter. He's just always happy. And then one day we were going to the Blue Jays game because he was taking his corporate law firm out to the Blue Jays game. And I thought we were going, and it was going to be a buffet, and the buffet started at 11. And because it was a buffet and it was going to be all this yummy food, we thought we would skip breakfast. And again, right, I just changed my story that he's always happy. And the funny thing is we were driving in the car, and I said, oh, we're going to the game. I said, oh, I'm hungry. I didn't eat breakfast. And he was like, neither did I. He's like, I'm hungry too. And he's like, and did you notice I'm in a good mood too? And I was like, yes. I was like, yes. And I was like, wow. And at that moment, it manifested. And then he told me it manifested. He's like, I'm always in a good mood, even when I'm hungry. And I was like, yeah, okay. Then I wasn't going to remind him it used to be different, because we're not going to go there. But, and always watch the meaning you give. Valerie's so right. Give whatever's in there a good meaning. So, I mean, I did shift mine from, thinking he didn't want to be with me to thinking, he's, quiet and grumpy because he was hungry. But then that ended up showing up, right? So I should have just went straight to, no, he's not grumpy. He's in a great mood, I mean, sometimes I'm quiet. That doesn't mean that I'm not in a good mood. It just means I'm quiet, right?
That's so cute. And isn't it fun how we can keep revising and changing as we need to? It's like, oh, well, that's not working as well as I thought, so I'm going to change that.
Oh, exactly.
Just waving on, and you're writing your script as you go along, and you can erase it,
Yeah. And the only time it's hard to erase it is if you think it's going to be hard to erase it. But just as quickly as that, something you didn't want manifested, you can turn it around and make it into something you want. And it doesn't have to be, this is what I'm affirming and this is what I have to be sure of for the rest of my life. No, ever changing, like Valarie said, ever changing. Today it could be this, today it could be that, tomorrow it could be this. It's all up to you. It's a constant flowing thing, because your thoughts are constantly going out and then coming back to reflected back to you in the 3D. Right. So it's about enjoying this and realizing your power. Right. So did we go through all the intentions already that you gave your client earlier, or is there more?
Well, I have more.
Oh, let's go through them all. Everybody get a pen and piece of paper. Pause if you need to. We're doing some intentions.
Intentions are my favorite thing. And, I love when I'm working with clients that we come up with them together and they take what feels easiest to them, and then you can always add to it. You can always expand it as you really start believing the new intentions. So like I said, I had her saying, he loves spending time with me. I'm his favorite person in the whole world. He can't get enough of me. He thinks I'm so fun and so interesting and so easy to be with. And then I threw in, everyone loves me. Everyone loves me, and he especially loves me. And why wouldn't he love me? Because everyone loves me. And I bring joy to his life. And the more time he spends with me, the more time he wants to spend with me. And then I had her say things like, even when I'm quiet, because sometimes she would have trouble. She really had the story about not being interesting enough. So I says, well, what if even when you're quiet, you're interesting? Because sometimes people just like to be quiet and enjoy the scenery. They don't need constant chatter. So I had her say, even when I'm quiet, it gives him time to really absorb my presence and our time together and really think about how much fun he's having. So I just, every time I had her, every time she noticed any little negative thing that would come up, and again, she knew that by her feelings, recognize it and then turn it into the exact opposite. What's the exact opposite? What do you really want? What do you really want? And so we would flip that into what she wants. I'm the most interesting person in the world. He can't get enough of me. He loves hugging me and touching me. He thinks this trip went so fast. You know, he couldn't believe how fast this trip went, and he wants to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. And he tells me how much he loves spending time with me. You know, what are some of the ones I did with Andrew? I intended that he would spend every night with me and have dinner with me. I intended that he would always ask me to hang out and to be together. A whole bunch of ones just like that. A lot of what I would see, hear, and feel, and things that he would think and say to me, right? Because, you know, it's one thing to say, well, he wants to spend time with me, but I would like to say, I would like to hear it. So I would intend that he would tell me that he loves spending time with me and that he always says stuff like that, right? So more
Yes.
things like that as well. And then, yeah, it works because now I'm living with Andrew.
Yeah, so that's the ultimate success story, right? And you know, and that reminded me that I also had her do some visualizations, and you don't have to, but sometimes if you are just happening to be picturing what the weekend's going to look like, you want to make sure that you're picturing that it's going well. You don't want your brain going to, he's upset, he's bored, he's disinteresting. You want to picture him smiling. Maybe you're in the passenger seat, he's driving, and he looks over at you and he gives you a little smile, or he reaches over and takes your hand. So I had her do things like that too. And she said he did all of that. He reached over and took her hand while they were driving, and she was just amazed. She couldn't have been happier.
That's amazing. Yeah. And you know, Valerie's totally right. You don't have to visualize. Now, how it works, right? I'm not a big visualizer myself. So I wanted one day when me and Andrew were going to one of his like I guess lawyer associates that worked for him, his wedding. And I wanted at that wedding to have this experience where Andrew like took my hand and led me to the dance floor and basically like would slow dance with me and just like gazed in my eyes, you know, and our hand here, you know, his arm around me, you know, and holding me tight, right? And I basically described it just like I said it to you guys right now in my head. And it still played out exactly like that. Because when you say a statement of, he's going to grab my hand, your subconscious mind already, it creates that picture automatically because it only sees in pictures. So your words are actually a visualization when it comes to your subconscious mind translating them. So you don't need to worry about sitting there and trying to focus. No, you just have to describe the situation in your head. And when you know, every word is a picture that your subconscious mind creates, right? And then that gets pushed out there. So so amazing.
That's
So
good.
amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Valarie. This was great. You know your stuff. You've got Valarie, guys. Valarie has lots of coaching experience. So we're really happy to have her as part of the team. So thank you so much for being here today, Valarie.
Thank you so much. I had such a good time. And my intention is that, you know, this helped everyone that's watching. And it's just been fun. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. And yes, guys, I intend the same. And I intend that you guys all feel and believe that you're perfect and you can have what you want. So thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.